Hello YouTube land, Marcellus and Lidia here, and we're back for part 2 of the Ultralisk 4x4 door storage unit for the Jeep Wrangler. In part 1, it didn't go so well. When we unpackaged everything, we were missing parts, and I actually unpackaged everything first before I started the video so we know if this was going to be a waste of our time or not. And luckily, we have all the parts. Or at least what looks like all the parts. So we're kind of excited to get this installed and to get the doors off the Jeep. And we hope you enjoy the video. We'll let you know how it goes and what we think. So far, so good. Enjoy the video. Thank you for stopping by. We're going to ask Lydia some questions about how yesterday went. How long did it take?
It took a long time.
It did take a long time. And we're not completely finished yet, but so far it took 4 hours. We started at 4 p.m. In the afternoon, and we ended up going into the house around 8 o'clock. It didn't go smoothly as I thought it was. I was excited in the beginning. How was the weather yesterday while we were doing it?
What do you mean?
Was it nice weather?
Oh, the nice weather.
The weather was very nice?
Yes, the weather was nice.
It was nice. It was a nice day. It was a little hot.
Now it's cloudy.
Now it's cloudy. What went wrong yesterday with our installation? Do you remember?
There's some couple of screws.
A couple screws?
Yes.
We had some weld splatter on a couple of the nuts that we were screwing into, and they wouldn't screw in. And I had a neighbor come over, and we tried to re-tap those nuts, and it didn't go as well as I hoped. And we're lucky, if you haven't heard, that this is our second kit. Our first kit was missing some parts, and so we actually had some spare pieces from the original kit that we were able to use, and we're lucky that we didn't have the same issue with the spare pieces. So we were able to assemble the majority of it yesterday, and I'll show you some things that I don't like that we're going to have to remove. So enjoy this part of the video. We're almost done. Just a little bit longer, and we'll be putting the doors on to see how it looks. Okay, this little guy right here gets in the way. When I tried putting the door on, it just didn't fit right, so I'm just going to remove those. And I think they're just there to keep the door in place, which makes me nervous because it is metal, and as the door rests upon that, it's going to scrape or rub against my paint. And maybe it's not built to do that. I wasn't sure what was in the mind of the engineer when they designed this, but that just gets in the way. So I'm going to remove those. And luckily I only have 2 installed. So that's going to be removed. And if it just keeps the door in place while it's being rolled around, it's probably better for me to use a bungee to hold the door in place. So I'm going to remove those, and I'll show you over here when we were putting these hinge bolts in. These are, if you can actually see at the top, these are welded in nuts all the way through. So they're welded in nuts, and the problem, it was on this one here and the one across the way, and that one here, that inside of the nut itself was some spatter, weld spatter. So the bolts wouldn't go in. And here, I brought out the spare part, or the part that I replaced. The hinge is still on because I couldn't get the bolt out anymore. Once it got stuck in there, it stripped, and so we were unable to get it out. And I tried to take pliers to it, and I said, well, let's just use the spare parts that we have. So we just left it on and used the spare parts. And so it looks like it should all the way around. So I'm going to remove these. I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to remove this and get the doors on. We'll see how it looks. Okay. Overall, this does exactly what we want it to do. Holds the doors. They're, for the most part, really stable. It's really stable on there. I did have an issue with one part. The gap between this door right here and this door is really thin, and I didn't want it rubbing against each other. So I put a spacer. This is just a swim noodle, half of a swim noodle right there. I put a spacer in there so that they wouldn't touch, because they were touching before. But that's really it. It's on wheels. It rolls around so we can move it around. It holds all the doors in place, and this is just going to sit in the garage when the doors are off. Just going to sit in the garage when the doors are off. But it looks like it'll do the job. So how do you think it looks?
It looks better.
It looks better. Better than laying them on the ground or leaning them up against the wall. That's for sure. With the size of the doors, it is a little bit bulky, but that's not the fault of the device, of the storage unit. It's just the way that the doors are. So now Lydia was asking me where we're going to put it in the garage. We got to rearrange some stuff. Maybe get rid of the dog kennel and a couple dogs. Just kidding.
Wow.
Just kidding. No, if I had to do this over again, I'm not sure if I would buy this or if I find a better solution, honestly. With having missing parts in the original kit and then getting a replacement kit and having some flaws with it, and then how the doors hang and almost touch, and part of that is probably because they're bungee tight together, but it just makes me feel that it's a little off to me. I might take this design and build something out of wood. I don't know. But yeah, I'd have to think really hard if I wanted to buy this again. But I think it will last once it's up and installed, or once it's assembled. I think it will last just fine. With a couple modifications that I've done to it already. Some of the things, the door holders down at the bottom that just felt like they were getting in the way. They were scratching the bottom of my doors. I took them off because I didn't want that to happen. I might build some out of wood that fit perfectly or better than what the metal ones did, using the same screw holes at the bottom. So just keep that in mind if you do decide to buy one of these, that there are some issues with it. But I think it will last probably the life of the Jeep. As long as I take care of it, it'll last. It's solid. And we'll see. I like it. It does the job that it was built to do, which is what I need. Now we can take the Jeep out and enjoy the wind rustling through our hair. That's corny. That's it for this video. If you like what you saw, give us a thumbs up. And if you want to see more, please subscribe. We will be continuing to do videos on our Jeep modifications, because that's a kind of a hobby of mine as money permits, as well as Lydia's recovery from her hemorrhagic stroke. Thanks for watching. Enjoy. We're going to go take the Jeep out for a drive without the doors.